Hello everybody, welcome back to Pretty Thoughtful blog. This is the final week, week 4 of my Plantober preparing and planning for NaNoWriMo. So if you are new here and you haven't watched any of the previous videos, I will put a link up here to all the videos and also in the description below. And this is the last week of October, which is just like mind-blowing to me that it's almost November and I don't know where this year has gone, but let's not worry about that and let's focus on the fact that this is the last week for preparing for NaNoWriMo or for writing any novel. I mean, you could binge all these videos and do it all whenever you want, but right now, if you're watching it right now in real time, then this is the last week to prepare yourself mentally, emotionally, physically and spiritually for a month of writing every single day until we hit 50,000 words. Fun! So last week you should have written your story beats and done a beat sheet and hopefully kind of thought about and written down your character arcs. So personally I have done my beat sheet, which is pretty decent. Got a pretty good amount of beats that I want to hit throughout, and my character arc is a work in progress. I have it in my mind, I just haven't written it down properly, but that's fine for me. Hopefully you'll figure out what works for you. So this week I'm going to touch on a couple of things, and this week really is driven by you and what you want to do and what will help make you feel like you are prepared for November. So the first thing that I want to touch on is time management and planning what you're going to do, because I feel like this is something that a lot of people panic about when they're writing in particular, but also for NaNoWriMo, where you are looking to hit a word target every single day for 30 days. And I would really suggest right now thinking about and looking at your normal weekly daily habits and seeing if you can spot some time anywhere in your day where you could, instead of doing one thing, do writing. So for me, it's usually just like watching TV or scrolling on my phone or the internet. I probably do that for about an hour or so a day, which is awful, I know, and I'm really excited to not do that for at least a month. So the time that I'm usually watching TV is usually after work, where I'm just like unwinding. I'm going to dedicate that hour to writing. Personally, I like to write for an hour a day when I'm doing NaNoWriMo, because I know in an hour I can get at least 1,000 words. The target is 1,667 words a day, but going on to my next point, don't panic too much if you don't think you're going to hit the target per day. Personally for me, I always know that at the weekend I absolutely blitz loads of words, so I know that if I don't do great during the week, I've got a weekend to completely catch up. That's personal to me, so what I would suggest is you have a look at your own life, your own weekly structure and daily structure, and decide what you think is going to work best, because I think being mentally prepared to both hit your word target and also what you're going to do when you don't hit your word target, being prepared for that is key, especially if this is the first year that you're doing it. Another quick tip is once you have decided what time of day you're going to write, I often think it's best to stick to the same time every day to build a habit, and to set an alarm on your phone or whatever device you have to write at a particular time. This sounds simple, you'll do it and you'll hate it for the first few days, but then you'll get into it. Moving on to the next part of the tasks for this week is actually something that I'm really looking forward to doing myself, so hopefully at this point you'll be feeling more prepared and this won't feel like too much of a challenge and should be quite fun, is breaking your story up into parts. So for general fiction you have 5 parts to your story. So we're going to go through those and I'm going to show you a quick explanation of what I'm going to do, and then hopefully this will help you. The 5 points of general fiction are Part 1, the exposition. So this is where we're going to look at building the world and showing the characters for who they are and like what normalcy is for them. So completely like the introduction to the story. You're going to want to set the scene to show what normal life is like, and then also what the rest of the book's going to be. So you're going to want to set up your plot, and also any subplots that you've got, you're going to want to indicate what those are during your exposition. Part 2 is going to be the rising action, which is going to be the gradual rise in all the action and tension that you're going to build up in this whole section. So it's going to get more and more tense and exciting as you go. So you're really going to want to pile in all your action points and drive towards part 3 in this section. And then part 3 is going to be the climax of everything that you've just built towards. So all the exciting stuff, the big fight, the big event is going to happen in part 3. Part 4 is then going to be the falling action. So you've probably noticed in every book that you've ever read, hopefully, that all the exciting stuff happens and then there's a bit of a lull where everything ties up together. So loose ends are tied up, characters are reunited, everything seems calm. This part is generally the shortest part of a book because you don't want to labour too much in the boring parts. Not to say it's boring, but this is the bit where everything should feel nice and neat and maybe more relaxed before you head into part 5, which is the resolution. Now the resolution sounds like that's like the part where it all flattens out, but depending on what you're writing, this can also have a little bit of excitement in it, and I think it should do, just to leave your readers excited to potentially read more, either from you or from this story if you're doing a series. So you're going to want to decide whether you're going to tie it all up neatly or whether you want to leave it on a slight cliffhanger to make them want to read what's coming next, if anything is coming next. To show you what I'm doing, I think I mentioned it in the last video, I'm pretty sure I did. I use Trello when I come to planning stories and things like that. And because Trello is a great interactive pinboard kind of thing, so what I've done is I've written all my story beats in, and now what I've done is also created the parts along the top, because you can set like titles and stuff. And I will be moving my beats into the parts. So this is the perfect place, the perfect time, whether you do this with post-its in a book or in a different app or however you're doing it, the perfect time to move all of your story beats into your parts and see how it looks visually, if it looks balanced or if it doesn't. So we know that part 1 and part 2 and part 3 are going to be hopefully pretty even in terms of what happens, and part 4 is going to be a shorter part, so you should hopefully be able to look at how it's all set out once you've moved everything into the sections and decide whether you think that looks like a balanced story or not. And if not, then it's a great time to start maybe looking at your beats and seeing if you can break them down a little bit, or maybe even neaten them up and tidy them up and make less if you've got a really overly beaty scene. Finally, this week, once you've done that, the next part is going to be deciding whether you want to break it down into chapters. Personally, I have both written without planning chapters before and also by planning chapters, and I always find that planning the chapters beforehand actually helps me stay on track, particularly with NaNoWriMo, where you're trying to do a certain amount of words in a certain amount of time. So if you were just writing a book, just not during the month of November, good for you, and also you have more time to play and to labour in particular scenes, but for NaNoWriMo it's all about getting things done quickly without really dwelling too much on making it perfect. So I really think, and well, I'd really suggest setting up your chapters or your chapter ideas beforehand, just to really help you keep momentum going for yourself and also for the story. Once you've moved all of your beats into the parts of your story, maybe take a look and decide how many of these are going to go into each chapter and how many chapters do you want to write. Because sometimes it can be that you're writing one day and you think you'll only have time to write a particular amount, so perhaps you only write one chapter, and then you can look at your parts and your beats to see what exactly you're going to be writing that day. It just helps everything, it helps keep you motivated, and it just helps knowing what you're doing. That sounds obvious, but some people don't do that, and that's, I think, why they don't complete NaNoWriMo or they feel like they're lost in their story. Go through your beats and your parts and decide what's going into what chapter. It will help so much in the long run and will hopefully help you to become a winner of NaNoWriMo. So hopefully this video has been helpful and you've got all of the things that you're going to do for this week. I wish you the best of luck. I'm going to put a link to my NaNoWriMo page down below as well. So if you are doing this, don't forget to add me as a friend so that we can kind of see what's going on. I'm hopefully going to be doing some word sprints and some check-ins on Instagram throughout November. So do find me on Instagram, link will be down below, and really all I have to say is good luck, and I'm sure you can do this. I know a lot of people might be thinking that they can't write a book, even though they're going to start NaNoWriMo, they can't visualise themselves actually doing it, and trust me when I say, with these plans, you can do it. Don't worry about it. One of my across the way neighbours is now in the kitchen window and I think she's watching me. So I'm going to end this now. Have fun and hopefully I'll be back at some point in November with some catch-up videos, but let me know in the comments what you want to see going forwards, whether you like these writing videos or whether you'd rather I go back to other stuff. Don't forget that you can buy my first novel and also the follow-up to this and also the first part of another series that I'm writing at Amazon. So head over to the link in the description to buy my books. And also I figured I would finish my videos with what I'm reading at the moment so that I have got some accountability for my reading. So at the moment I'm currently reading the Raven Boys, the Raven series, whatever we're calling it, and I'm on book 2, The Dream Thieves, which I picked up from my local library, which was really lucky. They had all the books, so I went in and scooped them up. So I'm really enjoying that. Let me know in the comments what you're reading at the moment as well. I'm going to make this more of a normal thing to talk about what I'm reading, but I will never do book review videos, I'm sorry. I'm just not good at them. So until next time, good luck, and I will see you on the other side of something. Goodbye.